watching CBS 8 Mornings at 6.
Good morning, San Diego. Here, 6 a.m. on this Monday. Hope you had a nice weekend, everyone. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. We have a great show ahead for you. Let's start with that forecast. A big jacket to start off if you have to go maybe take the dog out.
Right, yeah.
It's cold out there.
Yeah, and windy.
Still cold, still windy. We still have a wind advisory in effect until 2 p.m. today. Temperatures are expected to exceed normal by 10, 15 degrees. So we're getting warm into the afternoon, into the 70s, and for some of the days ahead, some 80s. But take a look at where we're at as we start off here Monday. It's cold. When we have those clear skies, we tend to cool down overnight, and that's what we've done. 47 right now in Alpine to start off the morning, 37 in Ramona, 41 in Mira Mesa, and 48 in Del Mar by the afternoon, making it to the 70s. I'll send things over to Vanessa Paz, checking in on traffic.
Good morning. Let's see. Time is 6 a.m. on the dot on your Monday. Hope you all had a beautiful weekend. All right, look out for a Christmas tree reported in the middle lanes. That is no bueno. 15 South right at Valley Parkway. This could pluck things up for you as you make your way in from Escondido. All right, let's give you a wider view of the traffic maps. Notice how we're all in the green. Green, always what we love to see, especially at the top of your morning. Right now, we're at average speeds of 70, 75 miles per hour. Here's a live look outside on the 78 in both directions right at Nordal. Coming at your screen is that drive coming in from Escondido. Right side is that drive headed to that 15 connector. Meanwhile, no major issues, but take a look at the gorgeous view here. Clear skies as you make your way towards downtown from National City. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Vanessa. And now, new this morning, President Donald Trump says Iranian government leaders want to negotiate after he threatened the country for the deadly crackdown on protesters. President Trump previously said he was weighing possible military strikes. As of now, at least 544 people have died in these protests aiming to overthrow the Iranian regime. They want to get their freedoms back. Look at all these people taking to the streets. Iranian officials have warned that American military bases and shipping lanes in this region will be treated as targets for retaliation. Meantime, Iranian state TV showed pro-government demonstrations this morning. Here in Southern California, authorities detained the driver of a truck that drove through a crowd of anti-Iranian government protesters in Los Angeles. We do want to warn you, the footage is pretty tough to watch. Police saying here one person was struck, but the injuries were not significant. Authorities are working to determine the motive.
This morning, hundreds of more federal agents are on the way to Minneapolis after an agent shot and killed a woman there last week. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem says ICE agent Jonathan Ross acted in self-defense when he shot and killed Renee Good. San Diego Congresswoman Sarah Jacobs argues the Trump administration should welcome an independent investigation and is calling for Noem's resignation.
In just 3 hours from now, a trial over a lawsuit filed by animal rights groups against the San Diego Padres is set to get underway.
Yeah, the groups claim animal cruelty laws were violated at a rodeo held at Petco Park. CBS 8's Regina Irita live outside the Hall of Justice where that trial is set to take place. Regina?
Good morning, Netta and Eric. Yeah, well, the third annual rodeo taking place at the Padres, or at least Petco Park, is scheduled for the weekend. But there is a trial taking place this morning to stop future events like these. The animal rights group actually filed a lawsuit against the San Diego Padres over allegations of animal cruelty being violated in connection with the rodeo events. But while the case continues, so will the rodeos, at least for now. There's been strong opposition from animal rights groups since 2023 when the first rodeo at Petco Park was announced and then took place in 2024. Concerns intensified during that time after a video showed a 6-year-old racehorse slammed into a barricade and collapsed in the arena. The horse was taken away in a livestock ambulance and treated by veterinarians. According to C5 Rodeo, exams showed no fractures or major injuries, and the horse survived. Last month, Direct Action Everywhere San Diego, which is the animal rights organization, they held a protest at Waterfront Park rallying against the rodeo event, claiming again that it promotes animal cruelty and exploitation. But meanwhile, the Padres shared a statement with us that reads in part, quote, "We're excited to host the San Diego Rodeo as a celebration of our region's Western heritage, community spirit, and family-friendly entertainment." So back out here, the trial is scheduled for 9 a.m. this morning. The case was stalled for for a couple years now, but that will continue today, and we'll learn more about this case. For now, I'm Regina Urita, CBS 8.
Regina, thank you. This morning, San Diego County Supervisor Paloma Aguirre is getting ready to leave for Sacramento.
Aguirre set to testify today over the Tijuana River Valley sewage crisis. CBS 8's Chris Grow live in studio to tell us what she's expected to talk about in our state capitol. Chris?
Yeah, good morning, guys. And we're actually going to catch up with her before she gets on the plane to head up to Sacramento. So we'll hear a little bit more from her later on in the day. But she is expected to testify before the assembly in a committee there to advocate for what's called AB 35, otherwise known as the Proposition for Implementation Acceleration Act. Now, that may sound confusing, so let's break it down. We'll start with what Prop 4 is. That's something that's already been passed. It's a bond measure approved by voters back in 2024. It aims to dedicate funds to a wide range of climate and environmental projects. AB 35, which is what is up for a vote here, aims to streamline the delivery of the money to projects that want to get funded and funded quickly. So let's look at it through the lens of the Tijuana sewage crisis. Supervisor Aguirre is going to testify about the need for major infrastructure improvements, particularly at an area known as the Saturn Boulevard hotspot. There's been a recording of a high level of methane gas in that area. It's believed to be the cause of a slew of health issues for residents. We've covered the issue in particular when researchers were there to study how bad the methane is in that spot. Now, this is the Natural Resources Committee. If it passes here, it will go to the Appropriations Committee. Eric?
Chris, thank you for that. Well, gusty Santa Ana winds continue this morning. Recent rain has lowered the threat of dry fuel for fires, but CAL FIRE and San Diego County Fire are staffed and ready to respond. Meantime, the strong winds can snap branches, push debris into roadways, and create dangerous driving conditions. I was driving next to a semi this morning who was moving quite a bit out there.
Oh, like rocking side to side.
Like, you know what, time for me to switch lanes.
Then we have a lot of wind ahead, right? I mean, Evan, there's several days, it sounds like.
It looks like those Santa Anas are going to weaken at times, but they're still going to remain in the 30, maybe even 40 mile per hour range. So we'll dip below criteria level, so below what would be needed for a wind advisory, for example. But we're still going to see those Santa Anas play a big role in our forecast for the next 7 days, because even as the end of the week comes about, temperatures are exceeding normal, sunshine continues, very similar to what we have outside right now. As the sun starts to come up, we're already seeing that exposure grow here. Otay Mountain facing east, sunrise at 6:51, so we got another about 40 minutes or so, but a lot of light starting to beam on through. Wind advisory stays in effect until 2 p.m., not only for San Diego County, across our inland valleys and our mountains, but across the region as a whole. You can see all the way up to LA, we've got that wind advisory in effect. And while the tan color indicates areas that will see the most intense wind gusts, like we've already recorded, 40, 50, even 60 miles per hour, we still could see some outliers and some localized, more intense wind gusts. When we look at the last 2 weeks of high temperatures, we had a pretty decent stretch of 60s out there. We even got all the way down to 63 degrees, cooler than normal for last Thursday. But then from there, we watched as temperatures climbed, and here we are. Yesterday, we got all the way up to 73 degrees. It's likely we'll do so again today, especially across our inland valleys. Some of those models put us in the low 80s in areas like El Cajon, Santee, Ramona. Other spots inland might stay in the upper 70s, but either way, we're trending 10, 15 degrees warmer than average all the way through the remainder of the work week. Vanessa Paz standing by with a check of traffic on our Monday. Good morning.
Good morning. 80s, way too toasty for me. All right, close to 6:10 on your Monday morning. Hope you're all having a beautiful day so far and had a good weekend. Let's go ahead and start off in the East County, because that's where we're actually tracking a crash involving two cars. This is on the 8 East right at Waring Road, and it looks like one of the lanes blocked as a result. As you can see, we're all green around that area, meaning we're at average speeds. But if you happen to drive by this crash, give them an extra lane or two and make sure you're taking it slower than normal as you pass that accident. I tried to get a glimpse of the crash from our 8 westbound Waring Road camera. Unfortunately, I could not. What you're looking at right now, this is that westbound drive, and that's the eastbound drive. So if the crash did occur, it would be somewhere along, again, this range, but right now we can't get a glimpse of it. But just keep in mind that if you're headed eastbound, let's say maybe out of the Mission Valley area, headed towards the College neighborhood, you may encounter some slowing. All right, let's go ahead and pull up those travel times, because we're not seeing any impact on the drive times. Overall, about 5 minutes to get you in from the 15 to the 5. About a 7-minute ride, both coming in from Lemon Grove as well as Santee. And here's what it looks like for those drives headed in from the South Bay northbound, about 10 to 15 minutes, full span of the Coronado Bridge. About a 5-minute ride for you and no major issues out of the North County. All right, let's go ahead and pull up those travel times. Border wait times rather. Time is 6:10, about an hour or so. Coming in from Otay Mesa's port of entry, crossing in from San Ysidro, about 15 minutes at last check.